Hello? 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 Yeah. You can hear me now? How's that volume, Mike? Is that good? Not too loud? Great. I think there's some feedback. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Huh? No, not me. I'm not doing it. David's fixing something. Good morning and welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. A whole bunch of our members are away at a church retreat today, so thank you very much, those who decided to show up and keep me company today. I'm Reverend Joanna, and my pronouns are she, her. This is an intentional, all-ages, chosen village where we come together to share our lives and to work together to become the people who we've always wanted to be and build the world that we've always wanted to live in. And whoever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are absolutely welcome here, and we're so glad that you could join us. And it is good to be together. Would you please rise and join us in singing our first hymn, Come Sing a Song With Me, and please remain standing for our chalice lighting and sung response.
Today, our chalice is being lit by Josie with the support of her mom, Gabrielle. And we'll open today's service with these words by Linda Barnes. Go ahead. Suspended between all that was and all that might be, we struggle to find this very moment, to live in this very moment. Let us sit together for a moment and savor this moment. Let us relish this between time, where past meets future. Let us harbor a faith that reminds us that right now, right here, is enough. Please join me in singing our sung response. Circle within a plain love, where people grow forgiven. Use she, her pronouns. I love this church because everyone I've met at Live Oak tries to find some way, big or small, to connect our shared values to the actions in their day-to-day lives. So I volunteer every Sunday afternoon at the library with our adult basic education program, teaching alongside my dear UU friends as we connect with the wonderful members of our community. I'd like to give a special welcome to anyone visiting us for the first time. I encourage you to stop by our table in the Welcome Center, where we can give you a little goodie bag, get you signed up for our weekly email bulletin, and answer any questions that you might have. After the service, please stick around for a few minutes and have some coffee. We'd love to get to know you. This community has events happening all throughout the week. I encourage you to go to our website at liveoakuu.org and click on the What's Happening every Sunday night to fill out your schedule for the week to come. Something you might be interested in this week is our community sack lunch on Wednesday, October 1st at noon in the fellowship hall. Bring your lunch and come join us.
So, how do we do all of the things that we do here at Live Oak? Well, it's pretty simple. We take turns, and we share in the responsibilities of being an active community. This month, we have an especial need for those who can help with our live stream and be on our live stream team. And here to tell us more is Tracy Norwood.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Norwood. My pronouns are she, her, and I've been a member at Live Oak since 2016. Does anyone remember what happened in 2016? Let me go back to that year briefly because I think it's important to understand how I made the decision to check out this church. A friend mentioned I might like Live Oak, but I was nervous about visiting. Now, as a millennial woman raised in Louisiana, I'm obligated to quote Steel Magnolias. Y'all might know the scene where Weezer tells Annelle, "Don't you expect me to come to one of your churches? They'd probably make me eat a live chicken on my first visit." And Annelle quips back with, "Not on your first visit." Well, I had to go online to see if y'all were gonna make me eat a live chicken. And it was 2016, so the only thing I could find was an audio recording of one of Reverend Joanna's sermons. Y'all didn't sound too crazy, so I walked into those doors. And y'all, it literally changed my life. All because I could find us online. And now, live stream has grown. Our online presence have evolved from audio recordings of just the sermons to streaming the entire service. We have people who have never attended in person who watch and even donate online. Actually, I want to ask, how many of y'all have watched this on YouTube or saw Reverend Joanna on social media before visiting for the first time? Can I see your show of hands? All right, keep them up, please. How many of y'all have watched because you were homesick or because you were traveling or you're at the retreat right now? It's a lot of y'all. This tech is community outreach at its core. Y'all, I'm really proud of what we do here. I feel blessed to raise my family in this church. Let's stop being the best kept secret in Cedar Park. Let's blast these services across the world. But I need your help. We need more people to join our AV team and help with live stream and soundboard. We are sometimes helping with 2 to 3 services in a row to cover soundboard and live stream since Eileen went to college. I'm asking for volunteers to help once a month, either with soundboard or live stream. Soundboard's cool because you get to sit in that booth during the service and help us sound great. If you're an introvert and the workroom is more your jam, then your duties would be to show up before the service, set up the 2 cameras here in the sanctuary, and then use the computer in the workroom to run the live stream on YouTube. It sounds hard, but I promise we'll guide you the entire way. All y'all, most of y'all drove a car here, and that's really tricky if you write it all out. This is especially great for teens who want to get their service hours. Come visit me after the service at the visitors table or send me an email or Raven, I don't care. Imagine who else might walk through those doors for the first time because you pressed go live one morning. Thank you.
For our offering today, I'd like to offer these words by Paul Dalzell. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that what we believe is that it is important to worship together, to help our community, and say yes to the values of our faith. And now, an offering will be taken to sustain the work of this church.
Beautiful. Good morning. I'm Chris Jarman. I'm your Director of Lifespan Faith Development. And I don't know if you know this, but every week we meet and I get to hear about what the sermon's going to be about. And today's sermon is titled The Truth About Boundaries. And Reverend Joanna was speaking about her ideas and about the sermon. And we were talking about wishes, boundaries, and threats. Now, believe it or not, I don't always go, I have a story for that. I was like, wishes, boundaries, threats, children, story for all ages. I'll get back to you on this. So I got home and I walked through the door and my husband's feeling really frustrated. His name's Jim. And he says to me, I don't get it. When you're not here, the dog doesn't listen. When you walk in the door, he does exactly what he's supposed to do. Something clicked. This is Dax. Yes, that's Dax. He's 6 years old now. And this is Dax without boundaries. And this is Dax with boundaries. Chill, relaxed, comfortable. And everything just snapped into place. So I was like, Jim wishes that the dog would do things. And I have an understanding, an agreement with the dog about how we will behave when we are together. So I was like, we're coming at this totally different. So let me explain. Sometimes we wish that Dax would do something. Does anybody ever wish somebody or your dog or something would happen or they would do something? Yeah, you wish for it, right? How far does that get you? And that would look like, Dax, I wish you wouldn't bark at the mail carrier like they're an invading army coming into the house. Dax, I really wish you wouldn't eat the cat. Slide forward. Now, here's an example. First, you see Dax going, are you looking at me? And then Dax kind of looks the other way. And then Dax looks the other way. And then Dax proceeds to try and eat the cat. That would be the black thing that you see. He's kind of blending in there. So, and you know what? Dax doesn't really listen to wishes. He just looks at us like, that's nice, but I'm still going to eat the cat. So then we try boundaries. Clear communication, expectations of behavior. You may not go out the door first. You may not eat the cat. Anybody ever do that? Dax understands those boundaries really well because they're clear lines about how we live together. They're like the rules we agree to in a covenant. We will treat each other with kindness. We will listen when someone else is talking. Can you guys think of another one about how we'll treat people? We'll show up for each other. There's all sorts of things we could say, right? Part of our covenant. Here's the thing. Unlike wishes, boundaries actually change how we live together. Dax knows them. My boundaries are clear and have no confusion. Jim's not so much. He knows that when he follows the boundaries, that there's usually good treats in his future. That's an agreed upon behavior. He may sleep on the couch with the blankie and get tummy rubs. But we all know, speaking of treats, that sometimes people confuse boundaries with threats. And a threat would be me saying, Dax, if you don't stop barking, I'll never give you a treat again. Dax, if you eat the cat again, I'm never going to feed you again. Now, that dog knows that ain't true. That dog's like, you love me, and I'm going to be able to still get the treats, and I'm still going to do what I want to do because you didn't really tell me with clear intention what you wanted. So threats aren't real boundaries, and they don't build trust. They just make everyone feel unsafe, especially the squirrels in our yard. So here's what Dax teaches me about covenant. Oh, there he is with no boundaries again. Yeah. Wishes are nice, but they're not enough. Threats just scare and confuse people and dogs. Boundaries are clear, consistent communication that help us to live together with love. And that's what our UU covenants are like. They are promises to treat each other with respect, with real boundaries that keep our community safe and joyful. So that when you feel safe and relaxed, you know what your boundaries are. And Dax says, thank you very much for attending my Wonder Talk today. And with that, our story is told.
Please rise for our theme hymn, number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
We'll try to do this in a round even though we're sparse, so I'll point to which side to start, but we'll start together. When we end the round, just hold your last notes.
And now for our reading, The Golden No by Erica Hewitt. A few years ago, in need of a place to live, I went to see an apartment. After showing me the space, the landlord took me outside to the porch and told me he'd welcome me as a tenant. I have a couple of rules, he advised. No dogs, that's the first one. And the laundry room is for tenants only, no friends or guests. I nodded my head in agreement. As he spoke, a car parked at the curb and a woman got out. That's the girlfriend of someone who lives on the third floor, commented the landlord. We watched as she opened the car's back door and removed a heaping laundry basket and a small dog. The woman, the dog, and her laundry all entered the building, even though it had just been explained to me that 2 of them were not allowed. The landlord squirmed, making no move to enforce his own rules. I get it. I do. I get both sides of the squirmy situation. It's a hassle to go to the laundromat and leave your sweet fur baby at home, and we all avoid conflict a little or a lot. I hate to be a goody-goody, but I feel disoriented when I'm in a new place or a situation and can't figure out whether the rules are real or imaginary. I don't just mean masks required stores that don't enforce the mask rule. I also mean other mixed messages, sent when a boundary is accompanied by its simultaneous breaking. Like when I visited an out-of-town gym right before lockdown, and while working out, noticed that underneath the sign saying no food, someone had placed a plate of cookies. Boundaries can be uncomfortable. Upholding boundaries, more uncomfortable. On the other hand, belonging to an apartment building, a gym, a community, a congregation, doesn't mean that you can do anything you want. If a boundary is important enough for you to establish, then I figure you best prepare yourself to name it out loud when someone violates it, even when cute dogs and cookies are involved. That accountability isn't inherently unkind. If anything, it's an expression of care for everyone else in the picture. Because a system, a people, a community is only as healthy as the boundaries it agrees to keep.
Hello, okay.
No more hiding, I wanna feel sun on my skin. Even if it burns or blinds me, I wanna be purified within. No more hiding, I wanna be in love for real though. Don't care what it costs me, I'll trade anything to feel. Searching for real, trying for real, family for real, lost in the real, hurting for real, chasing a real, anything real. Know how to say it 'cause I already know. Know how to say it 'cause I already know. Everything I love, gotta let go. Gotta break it if you want it to grow. Had to build everything twice over. Don't tell me 'cause I know. Let go. Let go. No more hiding. I wanna be real me ugly. No more fake me fighting. I wanna know what's underneath. Mask off, I get more oversized down, talking face off. Get myself open to see what I'm made of. I guess I'm guilty of giving out fake love. I'm so fake. Crashing for real, trying for real, yearning for real, hurting for real, passion for real, risky for real, anything real. Don't wanna say 'cause I already know. Don't wanna say 'cause I already know. Everything I love, I gotta let go. Gotta break it if you want it to grow. Had to build everything twice over. Don't ask me 'cause I know. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go.
Thank you. Hello. Oh. I'm no Grammy award-winning artist, that's for sure. But you should listen to the original song. It's amazing.
So one of the big changes that I have seen in my lifetime that I think is so good in our culture is the fact that now it is very common for people to talk about certain terms that they've drawn from psychology, to be open and vulnerable about, I'm seeing a therapist, or I struggle with anxiety, I struggle with depression. And for those of you who are open about that, whenever we do that, it's so powerful because we are reducing the stigma around this. Those of us of a certain age remember when Uncle Bob would never have admitted that he was seeing a therapist. Right now it's more and more common. And we will even use terms that come from psychology or come from family systems, and we just use them in understanding the world. One thing I will say that is not very helpful, very useful, especially, for those of you who your career is in the mental health field, I have so much sympathy, and that is, we lay people will sometimes hear a term and we'll apply our logic to it, which isn't actually the meaning of the word, and then we start misusing it, and then other people hear us misuse it, and so they are misusing it too. A good example right now, I've been hearing this a lot, is the term trauma bond, right? We lay people hear that, and we apply logic to it, and so we're like, okay, we went through a communal trauma, we are bonded together, like those of us who were here in 2020 during the start of the pandemic, we might say, oh, we are all trauma bonded. Please don't tell anyone that you are trauma bonded to your minister. Because what it actually means is it is a term for when someone who has experienced trauma is connected or fused or bonded in some way with the person who caused the trauma, like an abuse survivor and an abuser. So we do that a little bit. And so today, the term that I would like to talk about, it's a very important term. I hear people use it a lot in our society, but sometimes they don't really know exactly what it means, and that is the word boundaries. There's a lot of things that boundaries are not. Boundaries are not a way to punish someone else. Boundaries are not a way of teaching someone a lesson. Boundaries are not a way to control another person. Before we get into this, though, let's do a quick little remedial class in something that I think that you have to understand in order to really be able to make sense out of boundaries. Yes, I am going to use a term that some of you have accused me of muttering in my sleep. I use it so much. Self-differentiation. And we're going to go to my favorite teacher about this. See, what self-differentiation means is we understand where we end and another person begins. And so to tell us more about that, just the quintessential teacher, Dr. Johnny Castle.
Head up. Lock your frame. Lock it. Lock. Look, spaghetti arms. This is my dance space. This is your dance space. I don't go into yours, you don't go into mine. You gotta hold the frame. Again. Frame. I look at you and
I fantasize. Okay, did we all catch that? This is my dance space. That is your dance space. This is what self-differentiation is. Understanding what is in our space and taking responsibility for that, and what is in the other person's dance space, and understanding that they get to decide what happens there. So one thing that a boundary is not, let me get to my right slide here, is a wish. There we go. Okay, wishes are great. And in a healthy, loving relationship, wishes and wish fulfillment are happening all the time. A wish is where you get to decide what it is you want. So first, let's start with that, because deciding what I want, whose dance space is that in? Mine, right. So saying to my husband, as I perhaps have been guilty of doing on occasion, I don't know what I want for dinner. Tell me what I want for dinner. I am under-functioning. I am asking him to over-function. So first part about a wish is identifying what we want and then articulating it, communicating it in some way. Do not come at me with the whole thing of, well, if you loved me, you'd know what I want. No, that is in your dance space. Now, with a wish, we are free to ask for what we want, what we hope for. And the other person in their dance space gets to decide if they want to do that or if they don't. And in a healthy relationship, sometimes the answer will be no, and that's okay. There's no consequences attached to that. Both people are free to both say no and have it comes down to courage. Have the courage to say what we want and have the courage to say no, and then also have the courage to hear no, because that's a skill too, right? So this is what a wish is. Again, there's no consequences to it. If your mom calls up, say your mom lives in town and says, hey, I am making lasagna for dinner tonight. I would really love for you to come. That's all within her dance space. Then you can say, boy, that sounds delicious, but work was really a bear today, and I just want to go home and rest. Mom may be disappointed. Mom may also be happy. Great, that means leftovers I can take to lunch tomorrow. Feelings are okay. Feelings in and of themselves are not consequences when we are in a healthy relationship. So nothing against wishes. Wishes are great. But wishes are not boundaries. Skip ahead past Johnny Castle here. There we go. So a boundary, I don't know why she looks so grumpy. Boundaries don't have to be bad. A boundary is where there is a consequence attached, but the consequence is on us. It is so that we can be our self, expressed self, and so that we can live out of the principles that we have set for our lives. Like maybe one of your principles, and it would be a good one, is I monitor my energy and I rest when I can, right? So let's say Mom has invited you, she's made the lasagna, she's invited you over for dinner, and there's something that's been happening whenever you've gone over for dinner. And so you say, Mom, I would love to come over for dinner, but I don't want to talk about politics. You have expressed what you want. This is a wish at this point. Mom gets to decide whatever it is she wants. She may say, no, I'm not okay with that. Okay, both people got to decide. But let's say that she says, oh, sure, no problem. You get there, and within 10 minutes, she's talking about politics. So you go home to think about this, and you decide, okay, a wish is not enough. I need to set a boundary. A boundary is not a boundary without a consequence. It is only a wish. So not only do you have to be clear at expressing what you are willing to do, while still allowing her the freedom to decide what she is willing or not willing to do, but you have to, if for it to be a boundary, you have to have a consequence, and the consequence does not control her, it controls you. Mom, I love coming over and having dinner with you, but as I've mentioned before, I really don't want to talk politics. If you begin talking about politics, I am going to leave. That's a boundary. You're not trying to control her, because she gets to decide too. And you may have a really strong opinion about what's right and what's wrong, and she may be too. She may say, in my house, no, you don't get to decide what I am going to talk about. Absolutely. That is within her dance space. But that doesn't mean that she is entitled to a captive audience when she does that. You get to live out of your guiding principles and control your dance space. Now, let me pause here for a second, because I think where we often get hung up here is there is this very human desire for there to be a universal, objective moral code, right? And we want to appeal to that. I think this is just part of being human, wanting to have this. It's the reason why the 10 Commandments are now taped up in all of our all of our public school kids' classrooms right now, you know. So you got your third grader coming home and saying, "What does it mean to covet my neighbor's wife?" Go ask Reverend Joanna. Please don't do that. If you're feeling a little smug right now, like, well, I'm not a fundamentalist, religion person. That's not referring to me. I think that this, again, is a very human desire to have this universal, objective moral code that is out there that, by the way, also affirms what we want and not what the other person wants, because we come up with so many ways to try and appeal to it. Think of advice columnists. I think that about 90% of the letters that people are writing in, what they're really saying is, I did this and this person did this. I want to know that objectively I was in the right, they were in the wrong. I mean, Reddit has a whole franchise called AITA, right? Where people share about something that has happened in an interpersonal conflict, and then they ask just total strangers, am I the astronaut? Because we don't want to be the astronaut. We want them to all say the other person is the one who is wrong. I am telling you, for all of us, we will have so much more peace, and we will be able to really understand boundaries when we accept that there is not a universal, objective moral code that we can use to justify us being right and them being wrong. Mama thinks she's right, you think you're right. What it comes down to is, what am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? And then to have consequences to ourselves that go along with that. One of my guiding principles is I don't want to condone, but with my presence, someone doing hate speech. And so if I am around someone who is doing hate speech, in order for me to live in alignment with my guiding principles, I have to take some action, either to say I disagree with you or simply to remove myself. But it's not about controlling them. It's about controlling me. Okay, so pop quiz. Watch this, and then, oops. There we go. Is this a wish or a boundary?
Oh, hey, excuse me. You dropped something. I'm done with it. Buzz off, wiener dog.
Wiener dog? Maybe you should just pick that up and put it in the trash.
Yeah? Or what?
Or I'm going to pick you up and put you in the trash.
Hey, I don't want no trouble. I'm picking up the trash. I'm picking up the trash.
Thank you.
Paw Patrol, the movie. Only
Okay.
in August 9th.
Who was that? Was that Liberty? Is that the name of that dog? Liberty? Okay. So, was that a wish or was that a boundary? Okay, good, good. Trick question. Those of you who are saying threat, yes, it's a threat. So what's the difference between a boundary and a threat? A threat is when we are trying to control the other person. A lot of ultimatums will fall under this. Now, in that example, that was a pretty easy one, right? Because Liberty was saying, if you do this, then I will step out of my dance space, I will step into your dance space, right, and physically grab a hold of you. So that one's easy. A lot of times, distinguishing between boundaries and threats is not so clear. And this is where we have to be so honest with ourselves about, okay, is the consequence that I am going to do, is this something so that I can live in alignment with my values, or am I trying to control the other person? Controlling behavior, like we may have really good justification for it, but it's not the same as setting a boundary. And it can do so much harm to relationships. Now let me get real serious about this one. I am convinced, I am one of those liberals who does believe that evil exists. I don't believe it's an outside sort of a thing. I think that the capability of doing evil lies within all of us. I think that when people who manage their anxiety by trying to control others, when that is what they are allowed to do, that can lead to them doing evil things. I think we can see that happening right now in our country. I mean, even the things like shootings or war, what is that if not trying to, the ultimate example of controlling another person? So when we are setting boundaries, I think this is where we have to look really closely and say, okay, it's not a boundary if there isn't a consequence. Is this consequence, number one, is the consequence entirely within my space, my dance space? But also, because the other person, it can absolutely be an appropriate boundary, but the other person may still see it as a threat. Because people, especially people who are not working to become emotionally mature, and that's the context of all of this. This understanding about boundaries and wishes and threats is in the context of people who want to have healthy relationships and want themselves to become more emotionally mature. But if you are not doing that work to become more emotionally mature and to have a healthy relationship, then yeah, when someone sets a boundary, you may perceive it as a threat. And so we have to be really clear about tying something to our guiding principles and knowing that we are doing this out of an effort not to protect our feelings, not to teach someone else a lesson, but to be the person who we want to be. Boundaries are about defining self. Now, when we are creating boundaries, it's not just about the two people, it's also about community. And our church covenant, the last one that we adopted, was in 2006 is when it was voted on and adopted. And even back then, they put in this phrase, maintain healthy boundaries. And I think, as Chris did, we can also argue that the whole covenant itself is a boundary. We are saying, as a community, we are defining self. As a community, this is who we want to be, and here are the boundaries around it. And if you decide not to live within these boundaries, then we need to have a conversation, because it means that we're probably out of covenant. What are the boundaries in your life that you can look at, and even if everyone on the internet, in that when the other person actually writes into, am I the astronaut? Even if everyone on the internet said that that person was right and you were wrong, what are the boundaries where you would say, this is where I am defining who I am. This is how I am getting to be the person who I want to be. That's a boundary. As Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote, prayer cannot bring water to parched fields, or mend a broken bridge, or rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. And I would add that this is where we give words to the yearnings of our hearts. So in that spirit, let us pray. And these words are by Anita Farber. And I invite you to make yourself more comfortable. Close your eyes if that helps you to go inward. The world outside is busy. Forces push and pull. There is conflict and tension. All this is true of our inner world as well. So often we see our inner conflicts reflected in the world around us. When we experience tension ourselves, we may create tensions that reflect our inner experience. We can do better than that. When we wish to change the world, often the first world we need to change is our inner world. A people at peace with themselves do not commit violence on others. A people whose internal life has a sense of ordered rightness do not wreak havoc on their environment. If we want to be peaceful people, we must find peace within ourselves. If we want to be honorable people, we must be honest within ourselves. If we want to be a trusting people, we must find our own trustworthiness. These are not easy tasks. We do not want to see ourselves as we are. We find it easier to blame and control the outside world than to examine and shape our inner world. May this be the time we take to look into our inner world. As we experience its tension, its conflicts, its fear, its deception, we will be uncomfortable. It is the discomfort in the first step of a new hope toward a better tomorrow. In experiencing those feelings and acknowledging them as our own, we will know that now we have begun the journey toward honesty and peace. Being in a community, we share our lives with each other, including the significant milestones, joys, and sorrows of our lives. And today, Gabrielle shares, we lost our 13-year-old dog, Boba, this month. She was very loved. She passed on September 8th. Barbara Charbonneau shares thoughts and prayers for our dear friend Lori, who is going through a separation in her marriage. And a joy, Sherry and Don Hoyt welcome new granddaughter Zoe Lillianne Hoyt, 7 pounds, 4 ounces. For these and the silent joys in our hearts we bear witness. Amen and blessed be. Please join me in singing. So boundaries are within our dance space. And today I was talking about really this, and boundaries in terms of relationships. But boundaries can also be something wider than that. Boundaries can be simply something that you put on yourself to make your life better. How are you doing right now? How are you doing with the 24/7 news? What is it doing to you? Are there some boundaries that you need to put in place simply on you? Maybe it's taking a day where you say, I'm not going to be on social media and the news. Spoiler, I'm looking to do that myself. What is it that you need to do so that you can show up as the person you want to be and lead the life that you want to live? May you go forward with that this week, strengthened by courage, guided by love, and living out the core of who it is you want to be and what you value.
Please rise and join us for singing hymn number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire, and remain standing for our chalice extinguishing.
Though I may speak with bravest fire, and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess,
and striving soul, my love profess, but not begin my love within. The prophets turn strangely then. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
Let us say these words to each other as we extinguish our chalice with the help of Josie. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Thank you, Josie. Go ahead and be seated. It has been a gift to be together today. Thank you to today's home team, that stands for hospitality and membership, who provided hospitality and worship and tech leadership today. Thank you so much, David, Amy, Tracy, Cheryl, Becky, Ray, Larice, Marie, Sage, and Judy. Let's continue that hospitality by spending the next 5 minutes talking with someone we don't know. Members, be sure to introduce yourself to any first-time visitors here today. They're the ones with the handwritten name tags. And show them where the visitors table and the coffee are. And may we all know the blessings of fellowship.